Welcome back. Today you guys are going to see us lowering the Camaro, but before we do that, I want to jump into, let's talk about something Nova related. Not 100% about my Nova, just barely, but so obviously I have a Nova, and Dream Giveaway caught wind of us having a Nova project on this channel, and they reached out to us and they wanted to partner up for a giveaway. They have a 1970 Nova. I know, completely different generation, body style, all that stuff, but they reached out to us and they wanted to partner up to see what good we could do. They're giving away, like I said, a 1970 Nova. It's got a 427 in it, 12-bolt posi rear end, I think 355 gears, all sorts of all the fancy stuff you would expect to go along with a 427. But anyways, if you guys can buy entries to it, $3 a ticket, I believe. Or if you spend $25 or more and use the code ARESGARAGE, I'll have all this listed down below and the link and everything. If you use ARESGARAGE, it's going to double all of your entries. This is something I've never done before. They reached out to us and I figured it wasn't going to hurt to give it a go. If you guys have any questions, drop a comment. And if you guys have any questions about anything you see throughout this video, drop a comment as always. And hopefully that was straightforward enough, and let's get started with this video. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the lowering springs today. This is supposed to drop it about 1.25 inches, I believe. It's gonna be less if you have a ZL1. This is just an SS, but if you have the electronic suspension, it's gonna be less of a drop. But on this, it's about like 4 fingers in there. That's the best way to, that's like tight fit. Very best way to explain it. Measuring tape would be too efficient, but so that's where we're at in the front. In the rear, looks like about the same. Very tight fit, no gap there. So let's see how this can go. The front is supposed to be pretty simple, just a few bolts really. And while it's off, I'm gonna go ahead and do a deep clean of these wheels. I do have some brake upgrades on the way, as well as some interior stuff, but that's for another day. Looks like the brake dust is off on this. That is not chip, that's coming off. That's all just brake dust. So we're going to detail these tires and wheels while this is off. So let's go ahead and get it jacked up and move on with it. Okay, so we got the wheel off, we got it jacked up, and I believe all we're going to have to do is, I'm going to double check this, is disconnect this bolt here. I believe that is for not the speed sensor, but it's the brake line. So we need to disconnect this brake line bracket here, speed sensor here, and then that should all come loose. Now I'll double check, but I believe then we just have to do the strut bolts here and then the 3 bolts up top, and I believe that's actually it. And so I'm going to double check that and then get started on this. Okay, after double checking, we have our brake line bolt there, speed sensor bolt right here, and then we need to disconnect this linkage here, and then these 2 bolts. So in total, just 5 quick bolts, and this should be ready to go. So we're going to see if we can't get this done pretty quickly. Okay, that did not take a whole lot of work at all. So we got our spring compressors. So we'll go ahead and get the spring compressors hooked up to this, get the new springs installed. Okay, so we got the strut disassembled, and so here's a good look at the height difference here. It's about almost an entire coil coming off. Looks a lot better. So hopefully this goes pretty well. This is the bottom, this is the top. There's notches, you can tell where they're supposed to go. So let's go get this thing reassembled. All right guys, both sides on the front is done. The rear I haven't touched yet. I'm gonna finish up for the day though. But if you guys remember, just like the back, we had 4 fingers worth of room. Again, not super precise there, slightly a little bit, there's some playroom there. But now when we come here, we got 2 fingers worth of room, and this isn't even settled yet. I kind of like the rake look a little bit. I don't know yet. I kind of think it looks like a little bit like a Mustang, but you know, they kind of have almost similar bodies anyway. I think the rake look is a little bit too much like a Mustang, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll probably end up putting the springs in the back and see how I like it, but these front springs were so easy, about 30 minutes aside and I was done. I would have showed you guys more, but honestly it was so easy. 5 bolts underneath, 3 bolts up top. If you guys need any more direction than that, honestly you probably shouldn't be doing it yourself. So but that's where we're at. We got the catch can, throttle throttle pedal is installed with the tune thing on there, the pedal box lowered in the front. I think we're definitely at a place to call it a day. So the day I installed the rear springs, I'll turn the GoPro back on and show you guys that method. Okay, it has been a few weeks. The front has settled quite a bit. It went from, I guess it's like, yeah, it's like right at a 2-finger gap. Probably like 1 3/4 really. I know that's not proper measurement, but put about 400 miles on it or so since you guys last saw. It has been very rainy, cold, back and forth, and today it's just about 60 out, so it's pretty nice. I got about 2 hours before sunset, so we're gonna try and get the rear done here. I have no clue kind of what to expect. I've taken a glimpse at some videos, but you know, we're gonna see. It should be relatively easy. I have cleaned the car a little bit, and I'm not going to deep clean these wheels like I thought it was, but that's just because, one, I only have a few hours before sunset, but secondly, I have some stuff on the way. I've never actually had rims like this or wheels like this, so I don't have any brushes to get in between all these spokes, and so I have to hand wash them, and get my hand in there. I have a actual wheel brush on the way to make it all easy, some brake dust cleaner, all that fancy stuff to actually take care of these the right way. So that's the main reason for that. I have taken it through the car wash, not a brushless car wash is what I've been taking it through. But yeah, so I'm gonna get everything together, figure out where we're at, get my bearings straight, and then I'll turn the GoPro back on. Okay, so all I've done so far is take the wheel off. Now would be a good time to probably do brakes if you need them. I do have new brake pads for this thing, just aftermarket ones. I don't technically need to replace these. These still look really good, but that's besides the point. Taking a look at everything here. This is the spring right here we're going to be replacing. There is a plastic cover right there. Now, I have done enough research on this to know that there's 2 ways of going about doing this. You can either drop the front of the lower control arm and bring it down like this way, or you can drop the rear of it and bring it down this way. The rear only takes 1 bolt, I believe, from my understanding, that you have to undo, but it does take a little bit more fighting. So it's kind of like one of those, do you want to deal with more bolts, or you know, fight with more bolts, or do you want to fight with getting the spring in there a little bit more? You know, since I've done springs on the Nova, I don't think this is going to be too difficult to get them in there, especially since these are lowering springs. So I think I'm going to go with the rear method. Might bite me in the butt, not 100% sure. So first step, I do know that no matter, you know, I'm going to watch another video on this just to be safe. Yeah, I'm going to watch a video to make a video, whatever. There is a plastic cover on this lower control arm right here. It just has these plastic pins. Looks to be about 4 of them, 2 in the back, 2 in the front. And I do want to keep all this intact, so I am going to work on getting those off very gently. That way I can put them back. Okay, got the plastic cover off, super easy. Here's the clips right here. You can see this little indent right there. You literally just put a screwdriver between that and the lip of the clip, pull down, and the whole thing comes out. Super easy to install and remove. They all 4 of them came out, super easy. Now, I did refresh my memory on doing this real quick. You take the back bolt out completely and you loosen the front. You actually want to do that in opposite order. Loosen the front bolt. That is, it's like right here. You guys should be able to see that part way. Right there, you're going to loosen that one just enough to allow it to swing down. That makes total sense. And remove the back bolt completely. And before you remove that back bolt, you do need to put a jack under this and slowly let it down that way. And then you're good to go. So 1.5 bolts and a jack is all you really need for this. No spring compressors or anything like that. So if you want to lower the rear and not the front because you don't want to get spring compressors or rent the tools, whatever, you can do it that way. So let's get this started. Okay, the coil spring is out. The hardest part about that is going to be getting that bolt all the way out the back bolt. It's, you know, breaking it loose was really easy with the impact. Took it right out. The hardest part was just I had to put, if I would have slowed down and lifted the jack up just a little bit more, I could have got it straight through, but tapping it through took about like 4 minutes, nothing bad at all. Getting this coil spring out, the hardest part about it was these insulators made it too tall, and they're kind of stuck to the rubber, so I had to kind of like pry them off or peel them off is the best way to put it. But as soon as I got these to peel off the rubber, the spring was short enough to pull right out, and it's perfect. So let's go with the install. Actually, real quick before we install, let me show you guys a before and after. Not too much of a difference, if anything. These actually appear like they're the same height, sort of. Well, I guess technically if you look at the difference, it looks like it's about one coil difference is probably what I would call it. So this could actually go about right there, really. So a slight difference. I think just one coil difference. I think it's supposed to be less dramatic of a drop in the back than it is in the front. I think like a 1 inch in the back and like 1 1/4 or so up front, 1 1/2 up front, somewhere like that. So let's go ahead and get this spring put back in, I guess. Okay, and just like that, we are done. That was way easy. I watched a guy on YouTube struggle for like 40 minutes each side. It's been less than 20 minutes and we're done. That was super easy. Oh, I did forget, I do gotta put the plastic cover back on, but that's it, it's back on. That won't take but a few seconds. So let me do that, put the tire back on, then go over to the other side. And when I get to the other side, I'll record more of it now that I know what I'm doing, and then I'll show you guys the process. All right, this is always like a little bit of the nerve-wracking part, because we're at the point of like no return. Not that this is proven to be overly difficult by any means, but if you guys can hear the honking, I apologize. My nephew is having fun with his grandpa's car keys. He keeps honking keep locking it. But anyways, this is the point of no return where all the other sides are done. And so technically if this goes smoothly, which it should, the car is drivable. If this doesn't go smoothly, it is not drivable due to just one. I mean, I know like if something went wrong on the other sides, it's like, you know, same thing, you got to fix it. But this side, you know, the last part is always seems to be the point of no return. At least I feel that way. We'll see. And I'm just showing you guys how easy this really is. Now, I'm going slow with these lug nuts because I dropped one of the lug nuts on the front side. Like it slipped out of my hand and it hit like, I don't even know, it hit super close, and it just, I mean, it wasn't even that hard of a hit, and it just put a slight scratch in the wheel, and it really bothered me. I'm really nitpicky about this stuff, but so I'm trying to go slow and make sure I got my hands on the lug nut as soon as I get it. And I will say, someone's gonna say I'm not using a jack stand right now. This car is, I don't have jack stands that are really small enough, so I will say, you know, I'm not using a jack stand. And so if you use a jack stand, you only need one jack for this. If you don't use a jack stand, you need 2 jacks. Luckily I have 2 jacks, so there's that. Okay, tread's not as bad on these as I thought it was going to be. There you go. All right, so just let's see, what time is it? Okay, wheels off. It is, let me show you guys, it is 4:58. Hopefully you guys can see that. So let's try to time this a little bit. I think in here, all right, we need to loosen the front bolt, which we use the impact for. We use the impact with an 18 millimeter. So let's do that real quick. You know, I showed you guys on the other side where these bolts are at, so I'm not going to waste your guys' time doing it now. So just one 18 millimeter bolt, we just got to loosen up a little bit. Set a little bit and then proceeded to take it completely off. All right, and then somewhere I have a flathead screwdriver. Oh, Brett's behind the GoPro. All right, and then just to make it easier, I lay off to the side to get these clips. Again, just a quick little, there's a little notch, slip that into, and then it pulls out. Go. There's those 2. Okay. That's off. Oh. All right. Here's the other clip. These things hold in so many rocks and dust and everything. It's crazy. Looks like this side got water in it and then all the gravel stuck to it. Scrape that real quick. All right. And then we need to put the jack under it. Okay. And do that real quick. You guys are welcome. I lifted that instead of dragging it right next to your ears. No, right, not, I guess technically not ears. Instead of dragging it right next to the GoPro. So we put our jack right underneath the control arm, just like that. And this time we're gonna be smart and take weight off of it a little bit, because we didn't do that last time. And then we need I'm going to be using a 13/16 to get this back nut off on a breaker bar. Now these weren't very tight. I said they were tight, but this breaker bar made it super easy, especially because it's ratcheting. Look at that, one-handed. She's broke loose. And again, you could use an impact on that if you want to, but I'm not a huge, rarely ever do I use electric tools or air tools. I'm very much a hand tools sort of guy. I think I've explained that before. But yeah, okay. So that's off. So now is what we're going to do is we're going to put the socket on there, turn it just a little bit by hand until we get it where we want it, and then we're going to take a hammer and tap the end of the nut. Go, get the bolt to come out. Okay, so what I ended up doing on the other side is I grabbed the ratchet, breaker bar, whatever you call it, made it easy to reach. This is not the right socket. Lug nuts, take this one. I did mention that this was the longest part, so bear with me. Okay, I actually realized that I forgot to show you guys the time after. It's 5:20. I believe it was like 4:58ish or 4:48, something like that. So either like 30 minutes or 20 minutes, one of the two, somewhere in there. Not too bad at all either which way. That's less than an hour, so it's a win in my book. So anyways, now I'm gonna put the wheel on, torque the lug nuts down, and then I'll catch you guys here shortly. Okay, torque down, ready to go. I'm not gonna do a test drive today. It has barely settled. Can still get 4 fingers in there, so it hasn't moved much. I'm gonna let these settle. I will give you guys a cold start though. So let's lock it. That is absolutely loud as can be, and that's factory exhaust. I can get into the car, make sure I don't have too much dust. Now again, I was gonna wait to do that, but as I said, we got some more mods and just some stuff to clean up. Again, this video was just, I have some other parts I got to get content made for on the Camaro. So far, 2 videos, a really big one so is supposed to be on the way. I might order in, there's another part. If you guys didn't hear it, hopefully I don't copyright claim for that. But there's definitely more on the way.
all sorts of stuff I want to do. My game plan is to build suspension and do some slight interior work. Just some, so big mods is going to be suspension first, and then it'll be bigger mods with engine stuff. While I'm doing suspension, I have some interior stuff just to clean up in here a little bit. Recaro seats are a very expensive option that are very uncomfortable. Everyone I know of that has Recaro seats ends up wanting to swap them out for cloth seats. So we didn't go that route, and we couldn't really find any anyways. So there is a change coming for the seats, and that package is already here. That's not the important part of this video, so we're not doing it in this video. We have brakes. We're going to do a comparison of stock brake pads versus something else that came in the mail as well. These stock ones leave terrible amounts of dust all over the wheel. Anyways, I'm going to let this settle for like a day or two, and then we'll do a ride along video, and I'll show you guys the ride height change.